Hey guys, thanks for coming back. This is STL Youngblood, and we've got our second episode of Captain's Log, where we're working on our flying in Planetside 2. One of the very first tips is a really simple one, but I think it's pretty important to know, is your vehicle actually has autopilot. Just by hitting the C button while you've got momentum going, it'll continue on its current trajectory, so you can go in and either set a squad waypoint if you're the squad leader, or you can even just set your next target so you're ready to go. One of the single biggest tips I can give you to help you live longer in a Reaver, or any vehicle for that matter, is to play as engineer and learn how to land. The two go hand in hand to keep you alive longer because you're going to be able to put down and repair your vehicle and get back into the fight. The real key to this is to make sure that you are killing your momentum before you hit the ground. So basically you want to hit S to kill your momentum, take your thumb off the spacebar, and start hitting Control, of course if you're using keyboard, to start lowering your vehicle. I would always recommend that you try and land on a vehicle pad like you see here, because while you're doing your repairs, you're going to be restocking your ammunition, making sure that you're 100% ready to go. And then the last piece with that is really to make sure that you're trying to land level. If you come in with your nose in the air, your tail in the air, especially if you're on an elevated pad, there's a good chance you're going to roll off and maybe destroy your vehicle. One of the best places to practice is going to be in the warp gate. I know there's a lot of other crap flying around, but your vehicle is fairly invincible in there, so keep that in mind while you're practicing. Now, since I always recommend that you play as an engineer when you're flying, I think it's always a good idea to put a few certs into your repair tool. You can really cert up your engineer however you like. It's a super useful class overall. So, I mean, if you spend time putting certs into your turret or your ammo kit or, your primary weapon, whatever it may be, that's fine. But for me, the single biggest area here is with the tool slot. You can certify your nano armor kit, which is basically your repair torch, and it's going to be able to repair your vehicle quicker so you can get back into the fight. We're going to go into certifications for the Reaver a lot more in the next couple episodes, but the one that I really wanted to hit on now was with the passive systems. I mentioned that you should really be playing as engineer, and if you can really start to control how you land and be able to repair, rearm, you should be able to get back into the fight and stay alive for longer. So sure, you could spend, 1,000 on this top tier after you've already dropped, 2,500 certs into this. So it's really about finding a nice balance. I find kind of the middle ground is pretty good because you can typically stay alive long enough to let that timer start working down. If you live long enough, you can come back, the timer's gone, you can get another Reaver right away. If you find yourself dying a lot, sure, you can put more into this if you want to. But hopefully you're practicing and getting good enough where you don't need to waste a ton of certs in this area until, maybe later in the game where you've got a ton saved up and you just want to start dumping certs into your Reaver. Now, what you're actually watching here is a good example of a couple different things. When you start taking fire and you're not sure where it's coming from, you should always really hit T and back out into the third person because it's going to open up your FOV so much more. You're going to be able to see a lot of what's going on around you. The other thing that I really want you to take away from this was you saw that I had a lot of heat coming towards me, and I know the initial reaction is to hit the afterburners and try and get the hell out of Dodge. But in actuality, it feels counterintuitive, but if you hit the brakes and hit the T to go into third person, you're going to have a much better view of what's going on around you. I was able to hit T, hit the brakes, back up, and I was able to see two mosquitoes and a scythe fly by. I was able to get the kill, stay alive, and repair. Now, I'm going to show you a couple different types of turns here, mainly because, like I mentioned before, I know the initial reaction when you're being shot from behind is to hit the afterburner and try and get out of there. Now, unless you're on indoor like I am here, you've got some canyons that you can duck into, but in general, it's going to be relatively easy for someone to fire at you and stay on your tail. Not to mention it takes about 5 seconds to complete a turn, and when you've got somebody on your tail, every second matters. The real alternative to that is going to be what I call the kill turn, and I'm sure somebody out there has a more technical name for it, but essentially you're doing just that. You're killing your engines or killing your momentum, hitting the brakes, you're making a sharp turn, and it's going to allow you to get back on target a little bit quicker. Now, you can see here that takes about 4 seconds to complete, which, again, when every second matters, it's a big benefit. The other thing that I really like about doing this type of turn is that it's going to get you back on target and it's going to keep you almost on that same line. Watching this turn right here, you're going to see I go about an extra I don't know, 90 degrees on my turn. So if somebody was still coming straight at me, I wouldn't even be facing my target ready to engage them. It's really a lot harder to judge where you're going to be at, whereas you have a lot more control when you're utilizing the kill turn. So let's actually compare some of those times. You can see the two outrun turns where you're just using the afterburner were pretty much identical, about 495, so just under 5 seconds. The kill turn, however, was about 3.73, 3.89 seconds. Neither one of those were my best turns, which I'm still not great at, but you can see even at my worst one, it was a full second under what it takes. So the biggest thing here is going to be to practice this and make sure that you're getting comfortable. Now, when you are practicing this, I would recommend finding a place near your warp gate, a relatively safe area. Set up a personal beacon so you can kind of have a frame of reference. This is when I was really learning how to do this, and you can see none of these turns are particularly great, but that's the key. Repetition is going to make you a lot better, and the more comfortable you are with it, you're going to be ready to use it in a dogfight. Now, the real key to this, I mentioned, was killing your momentum. So when you're flying forward, you want to hit S. After you hit S, you want to roll to one side. You can see here I roll to the right. I hit D, and I pull the mouse around until I'm back on my target. It's going to kill your momentum and almost do like a U-turn on your vehicle. So you're just spinning almost in place. But the key is that you're coming back and you're going to be ready to engage your target as quickly as possible. One of the last things that I really wanted to talk about today was engaging on your own terms. Most of the time that can be hard, especially if you're coming in on a biolab or a tech plant. Maybe there's AA, maybe there's a lot of enemy fighters. But I always suggest starting an engagement with a lot of elevation. The main benefit is most pilots don't look up, and that's a huge flaw. Some people aren't using T, so their field of view is low. Bottom line is this, though. If you are coming in high, you have a good chance of getting that first shot on. And outside of just having the better flying skills, which is always going to win out in a dogfight, it's going to give you an excellent advantage by being able to deal some damage first. So I always recommend coming in high, dropping down onto your targets, use your lock-on missiles or your rocket pods or your air-to-air gun. It doesn't really matter. Dealing the first damage is always going to help you win your battles. And now it's time for a new segment on my videos called Don't Be a Dick, Tip of the Week, where I teach you how not to be a dick, and this one's sponsored by a big-ass Liberator crashing into my Reaver while I'm trying to repair it. You can hear me in just a moment. This is my emotion. Seriously? So don't be a dick, bro. Be aware of your surroundings, and don't crash into your friendlies. It just pisses everybody off. So thanks for watching this episode, guys. Hopefully you got a little bit more out of this one than you did the first one. Ideally, all of us will practice and learn and can get better together. In the next episodes, I'm going to be talking about air-to-air combat, air-to-ground combat, and how to spend some of your certs. Also some of the benefits and hindrances of the different weapons. So again, if there's anything you want to see me talk about, please leave it in a comment and I'll hit it in one of my next episodes. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. I appreciate you taking the time to watch it. As always, thanks for watching, take care, and I'll talk to you guys later.